Good afternoon, good morning, everybody. Welcome. My name is Alex Raymond. I am the host of the Conscious Entrepreneur Summit based in Boulder, Colorado, and really excited to be here today. And we're talking about the Women's Leadership Forum that the Conscious Entrepreneur is launching right away, like very soon, with my friend Christina Poindexter. Super awesome to have you here and talk a little bit about what this means, who it's for, and what we're going to get out of it. So we're going to talk for something in the neighborhood of 20 minutes or so, and really excited to have everybody here. So Christina, say hello to the gang.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. And also thanks to those of you who joined as well on Monday, just to learn more about what it is that we're doing here. So I'd love to give just a brief overview of myself and how it came to be that Alex and I here are co-hosting a Female Founder Forum through the Conscious Entrepreneur community. And then we'll go into the forum itself and give kind of an overview of the program. At any point, feel free to drop a question, a comment into the chat. I'm monitoring that over on the side, so I can see those comments, even though I cannot see your faces at all. So who am I? I'm a three-time founder. I started two businesses, one in the mental health space, an AI business, and one in the brain health space, which is a business rooted in nutritional neuroscience that developed a supplement with clinical backing. So I also have come from more of the corporate world as well. I ran marketing and partnerships at Headspace and started my career at Google in product marketing, building all sorts of technological products. So my experience across being a founder multiple times and now building my third business really in the venture coaching space, developing solutions that support women in the process of their own creational journeys around building ventures. My experience in all of this is that it is not necessarily an easy journey, but that doesn't mean that we need to go into it all with a mindset that it has to be hard and that we have to do it alone and struggle and hustle and, glorify all of this culture, that it's just going to be rough and terrible. So that's a lot of where my work comes in, supporting women one-on-one and also through group programs to really blend a new kind of support into the ecosystem, which is part strategy and tactics around what you actually need to do to build businesses, and half coaching and emotional support on the journey that helps each entrepreneur actually work through some of those issues that act as the ceilings and the limits and the barriers to going out and doing some things that are scary and new and different. And oftentimes those things themselves are actually the challenges that are harder to solve than the strategic and the tactical ones.
Nice.
So that's a little bit about me and just kind of how I've come to this.
Yeah, great. I mean, this is important stuff. Let me just share one of the pieces of feedback that we've gotten. We've run the Conscious Entrepreneur Summit, like the big flagship event, for 3 years now. And one of the things that always comes up is people ask me, how do we stay connected throughout the year? Or how do I keep the inspiration and the motivation going, as opposed to just going to an in-person event every 12 months? And Forum is one of the ideas that I've always had. We've always thought, hey, this would be a great thing to do. And so this coming together and your initiative of saying, let's try this out, let's make it for women founders and women solopreneurs, is, I think, really gonna strike a nerve with a lot of people who are trying to get through the day-to-day and month-to-month, like the constant work that they're doing, want to feel supported, want to feel like they are not alone in what they're doing. And so, I think of this as, how do we really extend what we're able to provide to an entrepreneur, help them become a part of community, as opposed to just kind of occasionally going to an event. So tell us a little bit more about Forum and the idea itself, and why we think this is a great format.
Yeah. So Forum itself is a 4-month, program. I like to call it a container, right? Because it's really a container and holding space and time. We'll start in mid-November and run through kind of mid-end of March. And during that time, we'll meet every other week on forum or council calls, which will be a group of up to a dozen women that identify as early stage founders or solopreneurs, meaning they're solo entrepreneurs building their own businesses there. And we'll meet every other week for 90 to 120 minutes. And we're keeping that time to be fairly, flexible and custom depending on the women that come to us. So this is one reason that we'd actually encourage you to apply if you are even just thinking about the program. It doesn't require payment at the time of the application. And that's initially, that's intentionally designed for us to be able to curate a group of women that are going through similar stages of the journey and can really support each other, and that we can support each other, in those 4 months. So if you're even just thinking that, apply. And even through that process, I will be reaching out to each woman who applies one-on-one and having conversations to see where you're at. So beyond the biweekly council calls, and actually I should say a couple more things about the council calls. So council is really intended to kind of go around and have everyone share what it is that you are working on professionally and what it is that you're working on personally. And that blend is really intentional because oftentimes there are overlaps. And I find that that's just in the ecosystem where we don't necessarily hold space to go into some of those subjects that can sometimes be a little bit more sensitive, or you need kind of an exclusive community to kind of hold the confidentiality. So that can be stuff around managing people, around hiring. It can be stuff that's going on in your personal life. It can be fundraising, interpersonal dynamics that are challenging. All of this stuff requires actual skill to work through. And that is something that I think this program is going to be particularly good for. So we'll also be bringing in some guest speakers that will decide who those are from the conscious entrepreneur community, depending again on the women who come to us and what you all are going through. So those are the biweekly council calls. Again, they start mid-November, go through end March. And in addition, there's going to be, we're going to be set up through the platform Circle, and we'll have essentially an open way to communicate. And I'll be going in there daily to moderate discussion, support through both resources and kind of one-on-one, spot coaching with women in the group. And that I actually anticipate to be one of the biggest value adds of the program. I know as entrepreneurs, we're like doing 3 million things, wearing 10 hats at once, managing family and friends and, doing a lot. And so having the ability to actually go into a group of really experienced, entrepreneurs and saying, hey, I need to find an agency to hire this kind of a person. Like, does anyone know anyone? Or I'm really struggling with fundraising today. Like, can someone give me a pep talk? Like doing these like really short spot coaching elements, like in the moment when you're actually going through stuff, I anticipate to be a big support through those 4 months. Beyond that, there's going to be an opportunity to actually gather together in Boulder in person. We haven't set the exact date for that just yet, but that is strongly encouraged, but optional for those who actually want to meet the other women face to face and kind of create those bonds that happen, much more naturally in person. And so we will be enabling that opportunity for the group.
Nice. Yeah, that's everyone loves the in-person when they can create, just kind of stronger bonds with everybody. That they really appreciate that. And I just want to reinforce one of the things that you're mentioning here earlier, Christina, which is, when you're doing an early stage company, there's so much overlap between the business and the personal.
Yeah.
And we need support in both. So we need support in, whatever, how to build a pitch deck, how to build a financial model, how to do a sales call, like all that sort of stuff, and kind of the tactical business challenges. And at the same time, we need reinforcement and support and inspiration on things like how to deal with co-founder conflict, how to stay motivated, how to make sure we're able to, get up and get at it every day, and those sorts of things as well. And the cool thing about Forum and this particular program is we're aware of all of that stuff, right? So we're hitting both the head and the heart in terms of the support that's out there being offered. And I think that's really important to emphasize here is, if you are an entrepreneur and you just want to learn about sales or finance or fundraising or product, there's other places to go do that, right? There's a lot of options for you to go and do those things. And there are existing communities that are fantastic. But there's not a lot out there. In fact, there's almost nothing out there that combines this to say, I'm building the business of my dreams and I still need support in these personal areas. And that's really what we're doing here.
Yeah. I think it's a great call out. And, I'm also happy to field questions about how this forum differs from things like accelerators or venture studios, or candidly like direct coaches, therapists. There's a lot of options out there that tend to be in one or the other camp. right? And those actually could be good for you at this stage. And I'm the first one to be like, if you're listening to this call and you're trying to feel into whether this is right for you, like trust your intuition. That is something that I tout and help women, especially with all the time. So if you are kind of wondering like, okay, well, I want this actual tactical support, like, is that, feasible in this container? Let's, apply, let's have a conversation one-on-one.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, if you want, we can walk through the site itself. We can show people what
Yeah.
that looks like. Let me,
Yeah. So Alex is going to pull up essentially the program overview page here.
yeah. Hopefully this is appearing on the LinkedIn Live. This is an area I don't have a lot of experience with, LinkedIn Live. So hopefully this is working. Conscious Entrepreneur website should be appearing here. And I just wanted to bring this to bring this up so that we can see how we're thinking about this more broadly. So Christina, if you can, do you want to pop the URL in the comment section just so that people can see this in case they're not able to follow along live? And so this page is going to outline everything that we've got in mind. And there's one thing I want to talk about have you talk about in some detail here, Christina, in a second, which is how we're thinking about the venture coaching aspect. So that's something that we do want to make sure is available for people. So anyone who can hit the website, read through all this stuff. The main message is, this is designed for a very specific audience with very specific needs, who's on a very specific step in their entrepreneurial journey. And the great thing about what we're doing here with Christina is not only are we building this incredible forum that's going to be super supportive, but Christina is also then offering venture coaching on top of it virtually. And so let's talk about what that means and what you're talking about here as it relates to venture coaching, as I've got this slide up, or pardon me, this page up.
Thanks for prompting me, Alex. I didn't go over that earlier, and it's certainly an important piece of this. So essentially, there's two options if you're interested in the program. There's Forum itself, which is $3,000 for the 4 months. And then there's Forum and Venture Coaching, which is $4,400 for the 4 months and includes essentially 4 calls with myself. And that's designed to be, one per month. And then for me to kind of check in with you individually as things are moving. The reason that I actually am a venture coach now, and I do this with women, is entirely coming out of my own experience of being a founder. And what I found to be lacking in, and I've gone through the Techstars Accelerator. I've been an entrepreneur in residence at venture firms like M13 Ventures. I've even acted as a fractional founder for some celebrity brands. So I have a lot of experience across the early stage venture, building ecosystem. And what I really found to be missing there was someone that was willing to kind of get in the trenches with me and, help me with whatever was present that day or that time, that often did blend between the business stuff and the personal stuff. And I really needed someone who actually like knew how to build, like knew what it took to actually like build a business early stage, which wasn't necessarily, it's not all coaches, it's also not all therapists, and it's also not advisors, because advisors often won't go into the personal stuff. And so that really is my approach to venture coaching now. And I do that with many women who are building early stage businesses that are both venture backed, more the startup model, but also women who are building businesses completely on their own terms, at their own pace, not taking financing. And I really want to emphasize that, because often we think of ventures or startups as, this very particular model where you have to play the game in a certain way in order to get financing and whatnot. That's great. I can very much help you do that and help you figure out things like fundraising. But what I find to be even more important is that venture coaching is very helpful for solo women founders who are basically building businesses on their own terms at their own pace, and could really benefit from both having a sounding board and someone who can help them with tactical aspects around the business. So that's what is offered here in venture coaching. And if this is something that you're curious about and it's attracting you in some way, what's really helpful is for us to have conversations so that I can even be honest with you about, hey, can I actually support you with what it is that you are, wanting to build in the next 4 months? I'm the first one to be like, okay, yep, I have experience in these areas. And I'm not going to kind of go through all of them on the call because it's a pretty wide set. But I will also be honest with you if it falls outside of the realm of my expertise, in which case I can direct you to other resources. But this is definitely a part of the program that I think will be really supportive because it will allow us to go in one-on-one to what you are dealing with in your business with a lot more detail than the forum itself. So that's an option for you if you're interested.
I think it's great. I think it's great that we have these two options for people. So you can do forum and you're joining for $3,000, or if you want to do the forum and the venture coaching, that's going to be $4,400. You know, the nice thing here is if you want to do coaching, frankly, this is a lot less than you would spend on a coach if you just went out and hired a coach. And so you're going to get the support of the community of peers plus some extra time with Christina, which I think is really, really cool. And you know, in either case, whichever one of these calls to you, the next step, what we want to recommend is that you hit the apply now button down here and you get started with that. It's just going to launch a type form so that we can learn a little bit more about you and see if this is going to be a good fit. And that way we can get everything running and rolling, because we are planning to start in mid-November. I think November 12th is the kickoff date. Is that right?
I need to double check. It's that week.
Okay, the week of the 12th
Yeah,
at least.
yeah.
Great.
Yeah, and one thing I want to also call out is that you know, this should classify as a business expense for you.
Mhm.
This does you know, fit within coaching and kind of executive support. And so if you're, you know, worried about some of the cost aspects, that's something that I want to make sure you know, and that, you know, you should be able to use it as kind of a tax write-off of your business
This
as
is
well.
it's most definitely a business expense. You're investing in yourself, you're investing in your company, you're investing in your mindset and who you're becoming as a CEO. And one thing I just want to mention, and we'll see if there's any questions, is, you know, to Christina's point about, hey, you know what, there could be a diverse range of women here. It could be people who are raising money and building a venture scale business, could be people who are solopreneurs, it could be people who are in a different, you know, any kind of different situation. That plays exactly into the thesis that we have for Conscious Entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs come in all shapes and sizes and colors, and the businesses are all different. The struggles are the same, but the businesses are different. And so that's, I think, something really nice about this community is we're going to be bringing together a lot of ambitious entrepreneurs, maybe working in different styles on different companies, but all with the same goal, which is to improve themselves as they're going out there and building their companies. Should we check and see if there's any questions? If there are any, pop them into the comments, and we'll do our best to both see them and respond to them. But I don't see anything in there yet. Do you?
I don't see any, although I've paused the recording at the very beginning so that it didn't talk over us. So I don't know if there are later, but if we're not seeing your questions right now, please email us. Please hit apply and you'll find our emails there in the program application. And again, you know, I'm planning on actually like jumping on the phone and talking to each, you know, woman who is interested in applying, because I do think that element is really important. I want to know what it is that you're going through, both in terms of like what you're set on and doing great with, and what's like not going very well, right? To actually help design this program so that it is of maximum benefit to every woman who is a part of it. So I'd encourage you to reach out.
Fantastic. Awesome. Well, you're easy to find on LinkedIn, as am I. And for everyone else out there, just head on over to consciousentrepreneur.us and you'll find everything that you need. So Christina, thanks so much for joining us today and for sharing this information. And for everyone who is watching, if this calls to you, if this looks like it's something of interest, I would strongly encourage you to apply to join the Women's Leadership Forum. Thanks so much for being here, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.